I'm putting aside the selfish wants, the selfish needs, the selfish things that, I think I deserve this because I'm the man.
Yeah.
I'm the husband and I'm the leader of my family. And but how am I truly serving my bride?
Yeah.
Hey, it's the new church close. The new church close. Here it goes. Somebody come look at this. Look at that.
Can you believe that?
I can't believe that he came in church with them clothes on. That don't make no sense. He got his hat on.
No good weather too big.
Straight to hell.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kyren, and welcome back to another episode of the New Church Close podcast. And today is a very special day, as any episode is, because I think for the second time I've had a married couple on the show. First, we had the Mont BS doing February, like Valentine's Day. They have been married for they've been married for about 40 years, and so they instilled some wisdom in that episode. But this time we got a young adult couple with us, and this couple just happens to be family. So it really is special to me that I have my cousin Anthony and his wife Essence with us on today. What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
How y'all doing?
Appreciate the invite on the platform.
Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah. So Anthony has been on the platform before, doing our Advent series back in December, and this time I said, well, I know Essence got something to say too, right? Like, I know she got something to say too. And they serve in ministry at Words Way Church. You can shout your church out.
Yeah. So we are members, a couple of leaders at Words Way Church, Kansas City, right over there on James A. Reed Road.
10200 James.
102. I'm still new to Kansas City. I feel like, so I'm learning the roads and the streets still. Anyway, but yeah, that's where you'll find us over in the South KC area.
Yep.
Thank you. So Essence, I'm gonna ask you because he didn't already been on the show. But I'm gonna ask you like I asked everybody else. What was it that you grew up wearing to church? What do you wear to church now? And how do you see that, if at all, affecting your relationship with God?
Well, when I was in church, of course, Baptist church, I grew up, Easter Sundays with the fluffy little socks and all the nice dresses.
Yeah.
Now I wear jeans to church. Some nice fresh sneakers. I'm in that era. And a nice t-shirt. That's what I wear now. And two-piece sets, but what was the third part?
How do you see that affecting your relationship with God?
It does not affect my relationship with God.
Did it ever?
No. It
Okay.
never affected. I mean, it was closed. My heart for Christ has always been the same.
And she just said it like no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I love it. So the reason I had my cousins on today is because they serve together in ministry, and I think that's a beautiful construct for young adults, right? Like, for one, y'all got married pretty young too, right?
Yeah, we did.
How
24,
old?
25.
24,
I was 25, she was 24.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, young, and now how many years in?
We'll be 10
Next year,
in
next June.
9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
We've been rolling.
I love that. I love that. And one baby, one son.
One.
Thank
One.
you.
He'll be
Just
5. He's probably equals about 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
I feel it. But y'all serve together in ministry.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that journey has it's been one that I'm sure y'all have ups and downs, learning a lot about yourselves individually, learning a lot about yourselves and how y'all coexist with each other at home and in ministry. While 10 years in the game, y'all still young.
Yep.
Right? And so being young, being in ministry, walking out individual callings out, but then too serving with your spouse who is also a young adult. I know that's crazy.
Yeah. I'll say, you want to go first?
No,
Right?
you go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Lead on out there. Honestly though, this is actually relatively new.
Okay.
Maybe 2-3 years tops, wouldn't you say?
I think this
about 21?
aspect. Well, yeah, this aspect of our walk together.
Yeah.
I believe, but I believe we've been doing this ministry work together,
Mm-hmm.
even outside of our respective roles in church right now.
Yeah.
It looked different, but the mentoring other couples,
Yeah.
the Bible studies, things of that nature. We've
Yeah.
been doing that for quite some time.
Yeah.
I think that's really, I guess, an important clarification for
Yeah.
you to say, because our ministry doesn't necessarily stop at the end of the four walls that we
True.
serve in or whatever,
True.
right? It's whatever gifting and capacity that God has put on our hearts. You know what I mean? To give us. I hear people say it's called like a spiritual agitation, if you will.
Yeah.
Some things in them capacities. But yeah, to that point, the ways in which we served, and remind me of the question again, make sure I'm answering it right.
I don't know if
So-
I had a
so
question, but
I'm gonna just go there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so like in the ways that we've been
Yeah.
able to talk and help and share what this little 9-year, 7-year, 6-year wisdom that we have earned,
Yeah.
throughout the course of our marriage with other people. I know from my side of things, I actually really appreciate it. It's pretty dope to be able to stand alongside with each other, and be able to bounce off of each other's strengths
okay.
when we're ministering
Okay.
to people.
Speak to that.
Yes.
So you said she got something to say.
Yeah.
Listen, she really got something to say.
Yeah. No.
It's like being able to see her move in her gifting, the clarity that God has given her, to be able to see things spiritually, to see things in the natural, and be able to speak to them in such a clear way.
Yeah.
It's been an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's dope to be able to kind of play off of that whenever we're speaking with someone or speaking to a multitude of people, right?
Yeah.
Playing off of that and bringing in, sometimes it's a little comedy relief.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's bringing in, I guess, the nail in the coffin, right? Making things maybe a little bit even more practical than they may not be. So just having that back and forth between each other, when it comes to ministering in that capacity, it's been dope to have.
So, because you started, or did you accept your call first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. I mean, we had already been serving at our church for remotely, mind you, for what had it been, about a year?
Yeah, it was definitely a year.
It's about a year.
COVID.
Already been serving in that way, and our pastor kind of brought it to me.
Yeah.
Said, "Hey, go pray on it. Like, go pray." So I took some time, took some prayer. Took some consorting with her, all the things, and then went in and accepted that, right? So then went in, got ordained through our church and everything, and became one of the executive pastors over at our church now. And then, how many months later? Maybe like a year or so later.
About a year later, we moved.
And then you had got ordained as a minister as well yourself.
Yeah.
So that brought it into the four walls, if you will, of our marriage ministry.
Yeah, and so for Essence, what was your journey like in accepting? Because your husband was serving, and then some change later. You like, let me go ahead and say yeah.
I would say I was running for a while. I grew up in church.
Why?
I mean,
why was you running?
Church clothes. It was them church clothes.
Because I grew up in church, I just understood the weight of it. I understood the significance of accepting that call. I knew that it was something important.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
In fact, that had been something that had been prophesied to us many years.
Okay.
But even when I was younger, high school, I knew that being in ministry would be where I would ultimately end up.
Yeah.
So I knew eventually when we would move, because my pastor was talking about that with me as well, that I would eventually become ordained. I was more so just like, let's push, push Anthony.
Yeah.
And, it's easy to hide behind your husband, but we made the decision that I stand beside him and not just hide behind him and actually, do this calling together. So, but
So with you both serving together in ministry, right? You ultimately are the leader, right? You are your family's pastor, right? But you also have to be an executive pastor to your congregation. How do you, if at all, flip that switch? How do you change hats, right?
I think I like your little precursor in there, if at all.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The years leading up to 2021, 2022, when that became a thing, it was still always us having the conversations about scripture that we dug into, us going into things together, us praying, having our prayer life. Like it was still always those things, right? But now it's more so in the responsibility of functioning in those things within God's house. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So being available to serve other people where it comes up, right? Being available to serve in those capacities. I wouldn't say it's been a super, I guess, like a tax, like a tax on our marriage or our home. Yeah. Which I'm grateful for, because I know that's not the story for a lot of people. Yeah. And in the same token, I'm also not a lead pastor. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, so there's some different, I guess, weights and stuff in that as well too, right? But the way that it translates over, I think they honestly kind of empower one another, really. Me as the priest in my home versus me as an executive in his house.
Break that down.
You know what I'm saying?
Break that down some more.
So the ways and things that I learn or experience in our conversations, in our ministering to each other, in the ideas and everything that God gives me to lead my family, that kind of bleeds over into some of the ideas that maybe I minister to another man in the congregation. Yeah. Maybe I speak on at a Bible study. Maybe, things of that nature, right? And then vice versa. Having to take such a large group and condense down a message in such a way kind of makes things a little more concise as we're sharing things and walking, and I'm exemplifying leadership and not necessarily just talking it.
Right. And so on the flip side of that, for you, Essence, right, being a woman who serves in ministry with your husband, but at the same time, you're the woman of the house, right? Like this, really don't nothing go until you say go. But in light of that, right? How do you, if at all, drop the pastor purse, pick up the mommy purse or the wife purse, or do you carry both of those purses or all three of those purses at the same time?
Depends on the time. Sometimes I have to. Okay. Sometimes I have to be the wife, the mama, and the director of operations. That's my role at my church. I have to do that all at the same time. But it's not all the time. And so I think one of the blessings that we had was God allowed us to work together prior to accepting our leadership roles.
That's good.
In the church. Okay. So we kind of got to test that out. So even with helping him with his photography business, we were even doing an online business at a certain point. And so we were able to kind of test this out before we dove completely into our roles at our current church. And so with that, our goal when we first got married, we said our marriage is ministry, point blank period. We laid it down and said, God, you can do whatever you want, not just with us individually, but with us collectively. And so with that being said, it comes number one. It's number one at all times. However, there are times we have to manage it. I know we talk about balancing it a lot, but the Bible talks about managing your household. And so with that, sometimes it comes with prioritizing what comes first and what comes second. And so for us, marriage is always first. But we do know that sometimes I do have to balance. All right, listen, I'm going to be a wife at all times. I'm going to do whatever he needs from me. I'm also going to execute my role in excellency. And I'm going to be a mama, even if that means dragging him to the church with me and him sitting there. But I also understand that I don't want that to be his whole life. Right. As far as just being, well, mommy and daddy is busy with ministry and I'm just sitting in an aisle. Absolutely not. What are some family days? We're going to put family days on the calendar. We're going to make sure that we're doing date night. And so it's just about managing that calendar in a way where nothing is falling to the wayside within our unity.
I think too, even with that, or on top of that, excuse me, rather, not only is that our first ministry, our marriage, right?
Yeah.
Like, not only is that like the first ministry that we were blessed with, but that is also just God ministering to us in our union.
Yeah.
Like, it was our first ministry, and it is our first ministry that we are receiving, right?
For sure.
Like, even down to the point of just how a marriage emulates our God, right? How our marriage emulates the Father, how our marriage emulates the Son, the Holy Spirit, how our marriage emulates the marriage of Adam and Eve, and where God was in that space, right? All of those things are things that we encompass and look at and study and bring back to one another when we're considering each other. Yeah. When we're in moments where it may not, we may not want to consider each other. You know what I mean? Like, all of those things are still at the forefront in ministering to us, first and foremost. So it's like having that marriage component be the serving element of ministry, like you're saying for this episode. Yeah, it's all hugely important. Yeah, in that way.
Yeah. How do you, Anthony, as again the pastor of your family, right? Like, you are a union. How do you emulate God's marriage to the church in your responsibility as the pastor of your family and an executive pastor of the church? Yeah. How do you model that and mirror that, and what tangible or practical ways, so that Essence knows, like, I love you just like God loves the church. Yeah.
It's exactly that, though, right? And I know that's something that us folks in Christianese, we know that scripture, we've heard it.
What is that?
You know the Christianese, you know? You
like know verbiage, Christian jargon? Okay. I thought, like, Christianese, is that like culturally responsive right there? Yeah. I'm like, Christians, dude. That's what it's called. Like, you know.
Englishese? Okay, here we go. But in that very, very regard, right? Like, you said loving my bride as Christ loved the church, right? Yeah. That's what you said. Yeah. So we look at that, and great. Men, husbands, you're supposed to love your wife like Christ loved the church. How did he love the church? The man literally died. Ooh. He literally died.
You know what? I'm gonna ask you to hold that, because you gonna have to explain what you just. You got to explain that. He'll be back with his answer after this commercial. What's up, family? This is Kyren, and we are back for another check-in.
Hey, it's the new church close. The new church close. Here it goes.
So one of the questions I've been asked several times is, do you have to go to church to really be a Christian, or do you have to go to church in order to make it to heaven?
My son was just like, I love being an actor. Like, I love singing This Little Light of Mine. That was my introduction to my faith.
Hey, it's the new church close. The new church close. Here we go.
For a complete list of all the meetings and activities at St. James, look no further than your email box. The St. James e-News is updated each Thursday afternoon. Contact the church office to be added to the mail list.
We're doing something new and exciting here at St. James. I get asked a lot of questions about the Bible, about faith, about church history, and so much more. So we're going to take time each week where I answer some of the questions that I'm asked the most. So be on the lookout, your social media page, our social media page, YouTube, and so on, where I'll be answering frequently asked questions.
So you said, and I quote, you gotta die. Right? Because he did send his son to die, right? But in him being a triune God, got the Father, got the Son, and got the Holy Spirit, he died. How do you die, bro?
So you want practicality, right?
Yeah.
I can't go like into a full encyclopedia.
No, exegete it
thing. Right? But if we're talking about dying to our bride as Christ died for his bride,
yeah,
then what I'm doing in that death is I'm putting aside the selfish wants, the selfish needs, the selfish things that, I think I deserve this because I'm the man.
Yeah.
I'm the husband and I'm the leader of my family. And okay, yeah, but how am I truly serving my bride?
Yeah.
If Christ gave himself up so that we, his bride, could have everlasting life, eternal grace, to be set up in heaven with the Father, and not have to worry about none of the sin that we did yesterday, the day before that, then how else am I going to be able to even try to match that level of servitude when it comes to my bride?
Yeah.
What are the things that she is aiming for? What are the things that she is looking for? Am I able to support that?
Yeah.
Am I praying for her? Am I preaching?
That's good.
Am I laying hands? Am I doing these?
I didn't call him in.
Laying hands.
Lay hands.
We got a baby now. Be fruitful
Lord.
And multiply. We got that in our.
it's natural, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but being able to move outside of those things of my flesh, right?
Yeah.
Wherever my flesh is trying to get in the way of cleansing her, right? Of being the servant that she needs as her pastor, right?
Yeah.
What was Jesus talking about at the Last Supper? He was saying, y'all are thinking that the ones who do the most, all this stuff, get everything, they are the ones that are on top. He says, no, if you are a true leader, you're going to serve. You're going to go all the way down as best you can.
Yeah.
So I'm going all the way down as best I can to lift up my family.
Yeah.
That is the dying to myself. And again, I say putting aside that selfish pride, because I'm also not going to say that God didn't make us full of needs, emotions. He talks about our desires and everything too, right? But if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, she's going to naturally want to be that reciprocate and fill in those holes and gaps and all of those different things on my end as well.
So even in the same, if we're going to use that same narrative, right, figuratively, right, if we're talking about you exemplifying what it's like for God to be married to the church, right? And you give me your answer to that. Essence, we know as a church, our responsibility is to give back to him, right? Show him our appreciation in worship and praise. And isn't it ironic how men really just that's a whole nother we need it. But how do you do that, right? Like if we're keeping with that same model, figuratively or narratively, how do you as a wife exemplify that back to Anthony?
Absolutely. So I know that's exactly what he needs.
Worship him.
No, seriously.
My Lord.
No, that's what me thinking of my Lord. No, absolutely. But practically, what I try to do is just create a space that is less stressful.
Yeah.
For him, and I know that as a man, sometimes we talk a lot about the strength of a woman, but there's so much that I believe that a man carries to make our lives so much easier. And so one of the things I always say to him, and it can be so simple, is, man, I'm so blessed to have you. And just the acknowledgement of that is one of the most simple thing that I can do to show my appreciation to him, because there are things that I don't ever have to worry about because I know that he's carrying that for us.
How far does that statement that she did, how far does that go with you?
As far as because
you say,
I appreciate, I can never express how much I appreciate.
How does that, and we're gonna get back to your essence, but I just want to know, how do you respond to that?
It's fuel, definitely, right? Because at the end of the day, we're still humans, right? We're still these finite, imperfect beings created by a perfect Father. So there are those times where we need that fuel. I believe God gave men just that natural that natural pride.
Yeah.
Right. Not a Lucifer pride, but the natural pride to really give us the fuel and the energy needed to raise a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hearing those types of words, getting that type of encouragement from our brides is empowering, right?
Yeah.
Like it's empowering. I bet. Let's go get some more.
And it makes you want to come home. That's and just like when we I for whatever reason I've just used this narrative of what it looks like for us in this modeling of the God and his bride and what have you. But if we notice that when we praise and worship him, right, we are ushering in his presence, right? Essence and telling you, I am so blessed, like, I'm so blessed to have you. It's like, no, let me show up then. Both figuratively and literally, like, let me show up for you, right? My glory is you gonna feel that. I'm gonna write a book one day. Y'all better watch out, bro.
I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, good. But I want you to go ahead and finish. Yeah.
I know that he takes pride in leading us and doing everything that he can to serve his family. Yeah. And because that reciprocity, I want to do the same thing. Yeah. Don't you dare meal prep your food. Don't you dare make your lunch in the morning. I get offended when he preps his own lunch.
You got a friend.
I think I do. No.
We'll talk.
But I want him to know that we honor him and we love him within our home. So when he gets here, sometimes when he gets to the house from work, open the door, I want Noah to run to him and know that presence, like, we've been waiting for you all day.
I love that.
To come home.
And it's empowering. It make you feel good when you run in. And for me, my son and my wife, literally my immediate family now, right, is excited to see me. You know what I'm saying? Like that means a lot. Beautiful. That means a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes. I love it. Even being on the phone, my husband just got home. I'll call you back.
Yeah.
It's just acknowledging all that.
You like that?
It made me think, going with your analogy, because that time is sanctified, just as our time with God is sanctified.
We've set aside this time to be with each other.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I just want to lighten his load because I know he carries a lot.
Yeah.
What can I do to make it easier for
you?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. There's also this thing too where I think men would go a little further if they kind of had that, men as a whole, especially those that are saying that they just want a down chick, all that stuff, right? Did I just age myself?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
But it's okay.
Just a little bit.
I mean,
just
all right.
But saying that they want this woman.
Yeah.
But if they're not willing to, at least willing, to lay themselves down, as a sacrifice, then what are you expecting? Yeah, brother, you can still be the prize. You know, that's the big thing right now, right? Men is the prize. You can still and serve your family to the death. Yeah, it's cool to jump in front of a bullet until that bullet is your wife's needs. You know what I'm saying? Like where,
that's good, bro.
Where is it when it's hard?
Yeah,
it's easy to jump from a bullet. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be with the father.
I think what you do for us, like, and I just had to take a second to say it's because sometimes you see these macho men in relationships that have to reduce who a woman is so that they can be inflated or feel more manly. And I feel as if we don't ever have that problem in our relationship. I love the teamwork. I love that he gives me permission to be who it is that God has called me to be. In fact, encourages me and propels me to actually step out and do that. Even when my anxiety will creep in or those self-doubt, we do a really good job of pushing each other out to do that. Yeah. And one thing that our pastor said to us when we first relocated was, he's the sugar and I'm the salt. Okay. And most of the time, that's the dynamic. Yeah. But too much of either one is bad. Right. And so it's such a beautiful balance. Yeah. And for him to be able, like, he's sweet, he's joyous, he's just the life of the party. And sometimes I'm more, subdued and just very much on top of things. But he shows me that it's okay to be that, even though, you know, sometimes it's frowned upon for a woman to kind of be strong and boisterous. He's like, no, say what you need to say, as well as correcting me if you said too much, said, you know, you were a little strong in your tone or whatever it is. He gives me permission to walk in that, but also wheels me back in and give me permission to also just relax. And so I'm grateful for the balance, the harmony, the dynamic that God has created in our union. And then who he has joined me with that pushes me into my calling more and more.
It's gonna be a good night.
Oh my God!
You welcome. No.
Thank you. I appreciate the layup.
You welcome.
Cause I appreciate it.
This conversation has been rich, and I'm loving it. And I want to spend some more time with my family. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to join me for part 2 of the New Church Clothes podcast featuring Anthony and Essence soon.